Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Hello, and welcome to a special edition of the Drew Yari Show on Saturday. It is Saturday, just like I mentioned before, here in San Antonio, Texas. It's pretty warm over here. We've been used to it being cold for the past couple weeks. Like, it's been bipolar weather. Like, one week it's friggin' cold as hell. We feel like we're living in the Northeast, and then out of nowhere it just says, "No, we're just gonna make you guys fucking boil to death." I mean, it's not that hot. Wasn't like it was in summer though. Summer was fucking hot. Yeah. To anyone that's listening, I posted the link for the live show on Discord. I have a Discord account, by the way. I will post my name just in case anyone wants to join in. 12:52. I'll post it in the chat room real quick. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, I basically just decided to do a live show. I haven't done a live show in a very long time. I can't even remember when I did one. I think it was a morning show, I believe. I just did like a random morning show at like 8 in the morning to talk about bullshit or whatever. But, I'm doing a live show. I might even do these more later on. Depends on what the topic is about. But, yeah. So, Captain Marvel, huh? I'm assuming everyone's seen it. I know a lot of people haven't seen it, which is cool. If you haven't seen it, then you might want to not listen to this show, because it's gonna get spoiled. It's gonna get all spoilery up in this bitch. Where do I begin? I don't know if I should do just like a scene by scene review of the movie, or just talk about highlights and lowlights. I guess I can just do a whole review. I won't be too long. This will probably be a relatively short show. I'm just going to do a review and just going to hop on out of here. If you're in the chat room, you're more than welcome to ask me any questions or join in. You can join me on Discord. I posted my username. So, anyways, I'll begin. The movie began with a nice little tribute to Stan Lee in the kind of the typical Marvel intro that they show. They added Stan Lee's, characters or his cameos that he had in other Marvel movies. And at the end it said, "Thank you, Stan." Which I thought was pretty cool. And it was kind of one of those, like, heartwarming things. And, I'm not going to admit, I got a little choked up when I saw it. So, yeah, the movie begins showing the crash that Carol Danvers and Lawson, her commander, they never really said, like, what rank she was to Carol. I'll reveal a little bit more about her as this review goes on. So it just shows her on the ground, and she just got involved in a crash. And you see Lawson, who's played by Annette Bening, who's shooting at somebody, and she gets shot at too. And you see what looks to be a scroll. She wakes up, and she's pretty much where she was before, which was in Hala, which was where the Kree live, and they work and they train, or what do you want to call it. She wakes up Jude Law, his character. I'm forgetting what his name was. I think it was like Korog or something. Let me look him up real quick. All right, Captain Marvel-Cast. Cast. Jan Rog. That's his name, Jan Rog. I was somewhat close. Yeah, Jan Rog, he's basically, like, I guess, her mentor. He's in charge of her, teaches her how to fight, how to contain her energy, and they quickly go on a mission. Well, before that, she ends up meeting with the Supreme Intelligence, who they're not really... Their physical form, but it's not their real physical form. Their physical form is more like, I guess, the Supreme Intelligence is more mental. So they appear as someone or something that you admire. And in, Veer's, her case, it was in the shape of Annette Bening, who is Lawson. But at first, Veers has no idea who she is. She has no memory of her past life on Earth, because they pretty much wiped away her memory. So she goes on a mission with Rog, Jude Law's character. Who else? Let me look at the other cast and crew. Minerva, played by Gemma Chan. Bronchar, who's played by a guy named Rune Tempt. Atlas, it's a interesting name. Korath, Jean Minhatsu, if you guys remember him from Guardians of the Galaxy, he appears in he appears in a couple scenes. He appears like in the beginning when Star-Lord's getting the Power Stone, and Star-Lord's telling him his name. He goes, "Who?" And then later on down the line, Drax tears off, like, I guess, his ear or whatever it is and kills him. Metaphor. And then you just see Star-Lord. Nah, not really. Who else? And Solar. So yeah, that's pretty much her Star Force crew. So they go on a mission to find one of their own, who's was an undercover Kree on a planet that supposedly the Skrulls are trying to hit. They go on this planet, and while all this is happening, they come to find out that the inhabitants that live there are really Skrulls. And this huge battle ensues. Captain Marvel, on the other hand, Veers, I'm just going to call her Veers. She's kidnapped, I guess, by the head Skrull, whose name is Talos. Talos? I hope I'm getting that right. Talos, there you go, I got it right. Talos. Played by Ben Mendelsohn, who's one of the, I think probably the scene stealer in this movie. Great actor. He was in Rogue One, which I wasn't too fond of, but he was really good in that. He was also in Dark Knight Rises, when the dude that tries to take over Bruce Wayne's company and then Bane kills him. Warrior, you're pure evil. I'm necessary evil. So yeah, he plays one of the big baddies, quote unquote. So they kidnap Carol, and they're trying to get inside her mind to get some information. And while it's happening, Carol is just seeing certain events in her life that involved, I guess, a lot of oppression for her. Situations where she tried to do things that, quote-unquote, women couldn't do. Like, for example, she was a little kid and she tried to go go-kart racing. And she was going too fast and she ended up crashing. She got up and her dad told her, "You're supposed to go slow. You weren't supposed to be out there." When she was training in the Air Force Academy, she's trying to climb rope and she ends up falling. One of the captains tells her, you'll never be a pilot. And she's sitting in a bar and some guy's telling her, you'll never fly, you're too emotional. You know what they call it a cockpit. Wonka wonka. Which I was like, I'm not even sure you're supposed to be saying that. Anyways, they're trying to crack some information in her head. And I guess they find a memory where she's talking to Lawson. And they keep trying to go back and forth to see, what's on her shirt. And the shirt says Pegasus. Which was interesting because if you guys don't remember from the first Avengers movie, like at the beginning, there was a shot for like 5 seconds where it says Pegasus or Project Pegasus. So basically Lawson was a part of or working with Marvel in some type of, or not Marvel, a shield in some type of way. We'll get more to Lawson in a bit. So, anyways, they find that memory, and you just see Veers or Carol Veers, whatever. She's I got a friend request from Sacha Baron Corbin. Oh, nice. What's going on, Sacha Baron Corbin? So yeah, she's hanging upside down in the scroll ship, and she wakes up, starts fucking shit up, and what's it called? She ends up getting out. She goes in one of the pods and crashes right down to Earth because the scrolls were already planning on hitting Earth, which is known as Section C-53. Hey, what's going on, Norab Nibrak? I hope I'm saying that name right. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I'm sorry. Norab, good friend of the show. He shares a lot of my tweets. Goes out of his way to get the show out there, dude. Appreciate it. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, the crash landed down to Section C-53, and as you saw in the first trailer for Captain Marvel, she crashes into a blockbuster. And gets up, goes to a security guard who's playing What a Man by Salt and Pepper. Which I'm interested as to why he was listening to that song. I guess it was to give himself confidence, I guess. And she's asking him, where can I get some communication, I guess equipment or whatever. And he points to something, and immediately in my head I went, Radio Shack. Well, sure enough, Radio Shack. So she gets some equipment for communications. And she goes to an old payphone, which happens to have a Game Boy Color on top of it. Or just, I don't know if it's an empty box or an actual Game Boy Color. Which, if it's an actual physical Game Boy Color, why would somebody leave their Game Boy there? That's just weird. But, anywho, she gets a hold of Jan Rog. I keep feeling like I'm saying his name wrong. Jan Rog tells him where she is. She ends up losing communication, and that's when S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up. Coulson, who's a Clark Kellogg, they CGI'd and make him look a little bit younger, and then so we see Nick Fury, a lot more younger, approaching her, and they have a little situation, and then that's when a Skrull appears and tries to blow her head off. Chase ensues, and Fury and Coulson get in the car and chase after him. So Carol gets on the train that she last saw the Skrull get on, and that's when the Stan Lee cameo pops up, which to me I think is probably the best one. She's on the train and she sees Stan Lee reading a script for Mallrats. And for those of you that don't know, Stan Lee's first ever speaking his first acting role was in The Trial of the Incredible Hulk back in the 80s. His first actual speaking role was in Mallrats, which was by Kevin Smith. And, head over to, Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. And, the day that Stan Lee passed away, they gave a really lovely, a really amazing show about him. It was really emotional. But, yeah, Stan Lee, that was his first ever speaking role, was on the movie Mallrats. She kind of nudges down his script and sees him. Stanley smiles at her, and she kind of smirks back. Supposedly, the directors of the movie didn't tell Brie Larson when Stan Lee was going to pop up. So when she saw Stan Lee, she really had to keep it together. So she smirked back at him, and he smiled. They were expecting her to break out and start laughing and smiling. But no, she held her own, and she smirked and walked away to make the scene more genuine, which I liked. I liked it a lot. So she's walking to the train. She ends up finding the Skrull, which, as you guys saw in the trailer, was an old lady, and she ends up punching this old lady Skrull right in the face. And the fight ensues. And hold on, I got a little distracted. So yeah, fight ensues between the old lady Skrull. Yeah, I agree, Nora. The old lady Skrull and Captain Marvel, and the Skrull ends up disappearing and turning into Ned Flanders minus the mustache. So Captain Marvel ends up getting off the train. She can't find the Skrull anymore, so she ends up, finding a thing to help her communicate better that fell off the Skrull to put it in her communications device thingy. They didn't really say what it was called. I'm just calling it a communications device thingy. So she ends up finding more information about her past, about some bar that her best friend used to work at. Or her best friend that she can't remember that they used to work at. While that's going on, Nick Fury's in his car with who he thinks is Coulson. It ends up being a Skrull, because the real Coulson calls him and tells him, hey, where'd you guys go? I'm still here at Blockbuster. Yada, yada, yada. So a fight breaks out between Samuel Jackson and Skrull, and he ends up, shooting him in the head. They crash, he puts his jacket over him and walks away, goes back to S.H.I.E.L.D., and talks to Ben Mendelsohn's character, whose name is Keller. And they're looking at the autopsy, and, shocking enough, Ben Mendelsohn's Teller character reveals himself as Talos, which, come on, you knew that was going to happen. While that's happening, Captain Marvel is on a motorcycle that she stole, with some clothes that she stole, a Nine Inch Nails shirt, kind of a grungy look she was going for, according to Samuel Jackson. She ends up going to this bar and trying to find out more information, and that's when Samuel Jackson shows up, and that's when they kind of have, their first, bonding session. She thinks he's a Skrull, so he has to give up information, because according to Captain Marvel, Skrulls can only remember recent memories. They can't remember everything that happened in life, so he reveals that, he was born in Alabama, but technically I don't remember that part, which I thought was funny. We don't want to remember where we grew up that much. He worked in covert ops, I believe. He was pretty much around everywhere. He mentioned Budapest, which is a callback to the first Avengers movie, Hawkeye and Black Widow, where Black Widow says, it's kind of like Budapest all over again. And Hawkeye, you and I remember Budapest very differently. I'm interested to know what happened in Budapest. I demand a Budapest movie, which might happen in Black Widow, since her movie's coming out next year. So they're going back and forth, and she says, since you're a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, you must have a lot of clearance. So they go to the Project Pegasus building, I believe. Gets in, and they're searching for Lawson. And they end up being detained, and they get out. And that's when they meet Goose the cat, who, spoilers, is a Flurkin, is an alien. It's not really a cat. It disguises itself as a cat. It was actually Lawson's cat, who somehow took a liking to Carol. Who, surprisingly, Brie Larson is actually deathly allergic to cats. So they couldn't do too many scenes together. But Samuel Jackson and Goose made a good team. Anywho, they end up going into the records department I keep forgetting names. I just said it. Pegasus. And they look and they find Lawson's files, and it's revealed that Lawson was actually a Kree. She was actually a Kree. She wasn't a human. She was a Kree, and she has Kree language and words written on this book, or in this book. And for some reason, everyone's names are redacted, including Carol's, except for her best friend, who was Maria Rambo, who, and I just learned this today, she was actually a Captain Marvel before. She was a Captain Marvel before Carol. Just went to Alamo Draft House to watch it a second time. And if you guys are in the Draft House, they like to do, little facts and show random commercials or clips from TV shows or movies that have to do with the what's it called? The movie that you're watching. And they're showing a lot of Marvel stuff, including, the difference between the history of Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and what's his name? Shazam. So, yeah, Maria Maria Rambeau was actually a Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers. So she visits her. Or before that, she ends up seeing a picture of Maria and Lawson, and then she sees herself in the back. So she ends up getting out, and she goes to Louisiana where Maria is, and she finds her, and her kid's there too. And her kid, sees Carol and says, "Oh, it's Auntie Carol." And Carol's saying, I'm not really who you think I am." She can't remember anything, like at all. So they go inside the house, and she ends up, I guess, using her what is it called? Sonar blast? What the fuck? I just saw it twice. I'm forgetting what the hell her move is. Anyways, she pretty much reveals that she has powers. So she has a nice touching moment with Maria, and Maria reveals to her, what was going on that day. And then that's when Talos shows up, and there's kind of a funny scene where Maria tells him, "I'm gonna shove my foot, where it doesn't belong." And Talos, who's not privy to human, I guess, insults, is like, "Am I supposed to guess what that is?" And then they just all tell him, "Your ass." And he tells Carol, "Listen, I have a disc. It has recording every voice, Lawson's voice. It'll tell everything you need to know. I just want to talk. I'm not here to start anything unless I have to." So they end up going to because Maria lives on a farm, so they go to this, I guess, small little barn and insert the disc. And it's in the 90s, so it wasn't like it was today where I can just put in a disc on my laptop and it just shows up like that. Back then, it loaded. So they're all looking at the computer, and Carol's like, "What's happening?" And Nick Fury's saying it's loading. She's used to being in space and having the space age technology where things go in a second. But no, she's stuck on Earth, and we have to deal with dial tones and modems and all that bullshit that we hate. So the file's uploaded, and she hears her voice. She hears Lawson's voice, and it ends up, I guess, triggering a memory of what happened that day. They were in space. What's it called? Her and Lawson were in space, and they ended up being attacked by who we thought were Skrulls. Because in the beginning of the movie, it showed a Skrull, but they messed with their memory. Because what really happened is, and I will get to it, they crash land. Danvers is okay. She ends up getting Lawson out, and she notices that she's bleeding blue blood, or purple blood. And she gets her out of the cockpit, and Lawson reveals to her that her name's not really Lawson, it's actually Marvell. Marvell. For the longest time, we were assuming that Jude Law was Marvell. That's actually Annette Bening. I mean, I guess if you were into Captain Marvel comics, maybe that affects you in some way. I didn't read too many Captain Marvel comics, so I just took that as oh, that's interesting. So, anyways, she's Marvell, and she's on another side of a war that she doesn't want. She's basically fighting on the wrong side of the war, and so she's destroying this ship that she built that she hasn't revealed to Danvers what it is yet. And right as she's about to destroy the ship, she ends up getting shot in the heart. It's revealed that it ends up being Jude Law's character, and they have a spat, and then Danvers destroys the ship that Lawson or Marvell was intending to destroy. The ship explodes, and all this, I guess, purple blood goo, it kind of Danvers absorbs it, and that's how she gets her powers. And also, plus Jude Law's character Rog, he, I guess, puts his blood in her to officially make her Kree. So he ends up taking her to Hala, and he sees the other half of her dog tag, which says Vers, missing the other half that says, Carol Danvers. So that's why he calls her Vers. Which I should have gotten. I don't even know why I didn't get that at the beginning. I was like, why is he calling her Vers? And then I see it's oh, Vers. Why don't you just call her Vers? Vers kind of sounds like it's spelled with two E's or EA. Whatever. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. So, Danvers walks out and realizes, what the hell, my life was a lie. I was fighting with a Kree because I thought I was doing some good for the universe. I realized I'm with a group of, of monsters almost. And then Talos tells her, the reason why they're on the hunt for us is because we didn't want to subject to the rules. We just want a home. The reason why we were on that planet is because we were refugees. We don't want to kill anyone unless we have to. We're really just looking for a home. That's all we want. The reason why, Marvel was killed was because she was on the wrong side of a war. She actually found us a home, like a safe haven, which they end up going to. It's basically like an invisible bunker in space, which where all the other Skrulls are, and Talos sees his wife and kid, which is a touching moment. And his wife sees Carol, and she's freaked out because she sees her wearing the Kree uniform, and Talos says, "Hey, don't worry, she's a friend." And so when Carol comes over and assures her, "Hey, I'm really sorry that this happened to you. I never participated in any of this. I'm sorry." And then that's when the Kree shows up. Rog and the other, I guess, 3 or 4 guys. Sees her uniform. Oh yeah, going back to the uniform. Apparently, she can change the color of her uniform, which I guess that's okay. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense if you had this little girl out in the middle of Louisiana go, "Hey, I can make you a new space age superhero costume. Wait, just 1 minute. Give me 30 minutes." It's like that wouldn't have made sense. I mean, I guess it makes sense that she has all this technology that she can even change her suit. So, anyways, that was cool. So she has her suit with the colors and all. Rog sees it and says, "What have you done to your suit?" Which I don't know why that pissed him off. She's trying to use her powers, but it's revealed early in the movie her powers were actually given by the Kree. And Lawson's character in the movie earlier said, "What can be given can also be taken away." So they're taking away her powers because on her neck she has like some little chip device where they're controlling her powers. And she's saying, "These are my powers." And I'm just going to skip to the next scene. The next scene, she ends up seeing the Supreme Intelligence again, Annette Bening's character. And, she's telling her, "Yeah, you got those powers, but you don't know how to control them on your own." So they're fighting, and it's kind of a nice sequence where she sees scenes of her falling down, and Annette Bening's telling her, "Pretty much you're worthless. Without us, you're just a human." And then she gets up, and they're showing other sequence, fucking motherfucker. My cat's going crazy over here. Sequences of her falling down and getting up. So she gets up, and hold on. Give me just 1 second. What the fuck is your problem? Give me just 1 second. My cat almost knocked something down. Sorry about that, guys. My cat decided to go completely apeshit and everything. I don't even know where it was. Oh yeah. She ends up getting her powers on her own. She's starting to control her powers. And it's kind of an interesting sequence where if there are any Dragon Ball Z nerds out there, she becomes a Super Saiyan. In some fashion. So she ends up controlling her powers and starts blasting everyone away. Well, not blasting. I don't really think she killed. Well, she does kill some people, but she ends up fighting with Jude Law, and they start playing "I'm Just a Girl" by No Doubt, which apparently a lot of people didn't like that. I don't really know why people hated her playing or the movie playing No Doubt during that scene. It didn't bother me. If I had to guess, I would say it's people that didn't know that the movie was set in the 90s. I don't know. I mean, if the movie was set in modern time, they played that song randomly, then I would get where the issue was. But it's like the movie's from the 90s, bro. I mean, granted, I would have went with a different song, but it is what it is. So yeah, they're all fighting, and Carol gets the upper hand on everybody. And keep losing my place. Fuck. She ends up getting the upper hand on everyone. Nick Fury had... Oh, yeah. I need to go back again. They go to that bunker in space because Lawson had... Or Marvel had the Tesseract. Which, to me, was interesting. How did she get the Tesseract? Alright, the first time we saw the Tesseract in any of the movies was... Well, technically, the first time we saw a Tesseract was in... I believe Thor. The first Thor. In the post-credits scene where Nick Fury is talking to Dr. Selving, and he shows him the Tesseract in this briefcase. Next time we see is in Captain America, where Red Skull finds the Tesseract in the beginning of the movie. Fuck, I think I'm losing my place. I think I'm getting the movies wrong. Actually, no. Did Captain America come out before or after Thor? Let me look this up. When? Okay. I think it came out before Thor. Captain America First Avenger. Okay. July 19th, 2011. Okay, so Thor came in on May 2nd. So yeah, May 2nd, that was before Captain America. Okay, so yeah, so I was right. The first time we saw the Tesseract was in Thor. And then Captain America over in school grabs the Tesseract, and then later on in the movie, Captain America crashes that ship into the ice with the Tesseract. And Tony Stark, not Tony Stark, but Howard Stark, who's trying to look for Cap, he ends up finding the Tesseract. So did he end up giving it to Lawson? Because supposedly when the crash happened with Captain Marvel and Lawson, it was in 89, and the movie takes place in 95. So it was in 89, Howard Stark didn't die till 91. And I remember it was December 16th, 1991 in Civil War. Everyone remembers that, but... Or I remember it. So, since Pegasus was somewhat aligned with S.H.I.E.L.D., does that mean Howard Stark, who was one of the founders of S.H.I.E.L.D., does that mean he gave it to Lawson? I'm interested to know what happened. Anyways, the Tesseract. They have the Tesseract, they put it in a Fonzie lunchbox. Which I don't know why there's a Fonzie lunchbox when the movie's set in the 90s. And Goose reveals his true form. He ends up swallowing the Tesseract. And Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury, is going, I'm going to pick you up now. He's scared shitless, but he loves Goose even more. And then later on down the line, they meet up with some more Kree bad guys, and Goose ends up swallowing them whole. Which, I guess Goose is the new what's it called? Groot. That'd be an interesting combo, Goose and Groot. Or Groot. Did I say Groose? Groot and Goose, and then have Rocket on the side. Hey, make it happen, Disney Plus. So, anyways, Sam Jackson and I keep calling him Sam Jackson. Fury and Rambo end up getting the Kree refugees off the ship and fly them back to Earth. And a chase sequence ensues when Captain Marvel. She ends up falling right to Earth, but then she wakes up and becomes, I believe, binary mode, if I'm not mistaken. If there's anyone listening, please correct me if I'm wrong. Was that binary mode? Matter of fact, I have Google open. I will look that up. Binary. Captain Marvel binary. Yeah, that actually was binary. Okay, there you go. Binary. Which looks super fucking cool. Which, again, Super Saiyan. That's the one thing I think that was going through everyone's mind in the theater was Super Saiyan. And she starts going ape shit. She takes down Rog's ship and leaves him there so she can take care of the business. Because we have another Guardians of the Galaxy alum. We have Ronan the Accuser. Lee Pace, who sans the Marilyn Manson makeup from the first movie. He comes back to take out any and all Skrulls, and that's where Captain Marvel comes in and starts fucking up ships. He thinks in his head, wait, Earth's weaponry isn't powerful enough to take down our weaponry, right? And then see Captain Marvel and realize, wait, that's not a weapon. And she ends up taking down all of Ronan's ships, his missiles. He sees her and just goes, you know what, I'm good. And he has a line saying, he will be back for the weapon. You mean and I forgot what else. I forgot what the word they used to describe. And then Ronan goes, no, the woman. And then flies off. So then Captain Marvel comes back to space. And she comes back to Earth. And phases up with Rog and Rogs. He realizes, I can't compete with this woman. Puts down his weapon and goes, I'm proud of you. But can you fight me without your powers? Come on, fight me. And then she ends up blasting him with a photon blast right into the rocks. And she extends her hand to help him up and goes, I have nothing else to prove to you. Which I thought was cool. I mean, don't kill off Jude Law's character. His character is actually interesting. I mean, could he show up in Endgame? They haven't said yes or no. So she helps him up and sends him back to Hala and says, I have a message you can give to them. Tell them I'm ending this war. And then sends his ass back. The movie ends with Talos and his wife and his kid back at Rambo's place. And, they're saying, they need a new home. They can't stay there, Rambo says, because, you're not safe here. They're going to be looking for you. So Carol tells him, I'll find a home for you. And Carol and Nick are doing dishes. And she ends up giving him a pager, which the pager you saw in Infinity War, which is actually his old pager from the beginning of the movie, and tells him I need some modifications, only for emergencies. Gives him the pager, puts on her jacket that Maria's kid had, flies off to look for the Skrulls' homes. Back at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Nick Fury is writing on another old school computer, and what you see on the title is the Protector Initiative, and at the bottom it says Phase 1, which is a nice little nudge. And Coulson comes in with a box of eyes, or replaceable eyes, and Fury tells him, just let me know when you find the Tesseract. You never know what will show up. Oh yeah, I need to backtrack again. They revealed how Fury supposedly lost his eye. Goose scratched his eye out, which, come on. Really? I just think back to Captain America, Winter Soldier. Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. It's like, now we know it's by a cat. I had a problem with that. Anyways, I don't even think I need to go ad nauseum how much that kind of made me go, come on, really? So anyways, he's on his computer. Yeah, what's silly, Norm? You would think if it's Nick Fury, some badass shit would happen. He made up the story that the Skrulls, I guess, shot his eye out because he refused to give up any information. And then he goes, I can confirm. I can't confirm nor deny that's what actually happened. So, anyways, he tells Coulson, S.H.I.E.L.D. alone can't protect the Earth. We need more like her. What do you mean? Like more heroes? On Earth, somewhere in the sky. Because we weren't even looking for her. She found us. We didn't find her. She found us, and we weren't even trying to find her. So Coulson walks away, and then he looks at another picture of Carol in the Air Force, and she's standing next to a jet that says Carol Avenger Danvers, which, again, that wasn't as silly as Nick Fury losing his eye, but that was still one of those things where I just went, come on, really? That was the reason why he called the Avengers, and not because of Captain America, who was the reason why who was supposedly the first Avenger, which was the name of the fucking movie. Well, whatever. It didn't bother me that much as Fury losing an eye to a cat, which we have a similar looking cat. So he ends up changing Protector to Avenger, and they play the Avengers theme, and then it goes to the credits, which is Celebrity Skin by Hole, which is a good song. Let's get to the post-credit scene. Post-credit scene shows what looks to be an actual scene from Avengers Endgame. Back at the Avengers compound, they're looking at a world computer where they're showing the population dwindle, person by person by person in the millions. And, it's because of the snap. What happened in Infinity War. Spoilers, the movie came out last year. Get over it. And you see Cap, full beard and all. Black Widow, they're seeing this happening firsthand, and, Cap saying this is a nightmare. Black Widow said, I've seen better nightmares than this. Then you see War Machine appear in the background saying, hey, that thingy, and he's talking about the pager, because they somehow found the pager. I don't know how they found it. I don't know if they went out looking for Fury, or maybe they found like an energy pulse or something. But they somehow found his pager, and they're analyzing it, trying to see how it works. They show the pager with the crease with the Captain Marvel symbol, and then it just goes off. And that's what War Machine's saying, because he's saying, that because that's actually where he came from. He came from saying, hey, that pager thingy, whatever you want to call it, it just went off. And then you see Bruce Banner appear. They're going, what is this thing? We don't even know who's that trying to get a hold of. And then, Black Widow says, let me know who's on the other side of that thing. She turns around and bam! Captain Marvel's right there. New hairstyle. Kind of looks like a newer modified suit. She looks exactly the same. And she just says, where's Fury? And it just goes to black. So that's going to be, that's obviously going to be an actual scene from the movie, from Endgame. It's kind of like in Ant-Man when they showed a Civil War scene where they show Bucky has his arm, I guess, attached to something, and you see Cap and Falcon come in, which then ended up being an actual scene from the movie. So that's obviously going to be another a scene from Endgame, and it's going to be how Captain Marvel appears. And then there was another scene, which was it was a silly scene, which they usually do that. They'll have two scenes. One's usually kind of a serious one that sets up a future movie, and then the second one ends up being kind of a silly one. In this one, they just show Goose throwing up the Tesseract. So yeah, that was Captain Marvel. Let me know what you guys think if you're in the chat room. Like I said, I have Discord open. My Discord username is in the chat. I thought it was good. I went in it with an open mind. Granted, I'm never been a Captain Marvel fan. I never knew too much about her. I've maybe read a handful of Captain Marvel comic books, so I can't really judge the character so much, or her portrayal of the character, because I never really was that invested in the character. So when I heard there was a Captain Marvel movie, I was like, okay. I wasn't jumping for joy. I'd be more happy if I heard... I'm more happy about the fact that the X-Men and Fantastic Four are coming back to the MCU. That's what I'm more thrilled about. Captain Marvel, I was kind of like, okay, another superhero movie, awesome. I'm going to see it. And it's Marvel, so they can do no wrong. I like the movie overall. Brie Larson, a lot of people, for some reason, they think she's the Antichrist. And I've said this ad nauseum. She made some comments where she talked about, wanting more diversity at press junkets. That's really all she said. A lot what people seem to take from that was her saying, oh, you don't want white men? You think all white men are evil? It's like, that's not actually what she said. And I hear people saying they want to boycott the movie, and then they're saying, boycott this movie, watch Alita, it's a better... I'm like, first of all, Alita was boring. I was going to get that out of the way. Alita was boring as shit. I only watched maybe 20-25 minutes, and I couldn't get through it. I had to turn it off. We have an app where we, and I probably shouldn't be saying this live on air, we're able to get movies for free, quote unquote. So, yeah, it was boring as shit. Actually, I should take that back. It wasn't boring as shit. It just didn't catch my interest. It didn't keep my interest. Didn't like the plot. I didn't really care for it. Yeah, I thought Brie Larson did a good job. I mean, personally, I maybe would have picked a different actress. I mean, she's going to be in Endgame, so hopefully the Russos, who can't really do anything wrong, hopefully they take her character and kind of tweak it a little bit, make her more interesting, make her more of a badass. I thought she did a good job in this movie. Her range, I think, is kind of... Her range in a lot of her movies are kind of in the same. Like, at one point she's smiling, and at one point she looks like she's pissed off. There's really no in between. So, I mean, I don't know. Personally, maybe would have went with a better actress. But, she's going to be in Endgame. Maybe that'll be a different adaptation of the character. I mean, because if you remember Chris Evans, when he was Captain America in the first movie, he wasn't that good. And then when he showed up in Avengers and then Winter Soldier, he was a lot better than the first movie. Same thing with Chris Hemsworth in the first Thor. He wasn't that good. He was kind of one-dimensional. And then later on down the line, especially in Ragnarok, he kind of showed that he has range. He can be comical. He can be... what's the word I'm trying to look for? He can be vulnerable. And then same thing with Infinity War. They took his character and still kept the comedic elements, but still kept him as a badass. So I have faith in the Russos that they can, take Brie Larson and make her a little bit different than what she was in this movie. But overall, I thought she did a good job. I mean, that's just my opinion. Don't bite my head off for it. But I thought she did a very well job. That's just an opinion. Samuel Jackson, obviously, did a great job. He does a great job in most anything he's in. I was a little disturbed as to why Coulson wasn't really in the movie that much. I mean, I guess because they had so much going on, you didn't really find room to kind of, give him more of a scene, Jude Law was amazing in it. Who else? A lot of people say Goose was a scene stealer. I mean, we live with cats, so that's basically, wasn't... I related to it, but at the same time, it was like, it's not really scene stealing, it's just basically where I live. So, I mean, I like Goose. Who's the actor to play Rambo? I call her Rambo like she's actually Rambo. Lashana Lynch, I thought she did a great job. I thought she did a great job kind of complimenting Brie Larson. They kind of bring out that more human side in her. And then you had Akira Akbar, who played Monica. Another scene stealer. She did a great job in it. I think Ben Mendelsohn kind of stole the show. He made the movie a lot more interesting in scenes where it was kind of dry. Ben Mendelsohn kind of made the scene more alive. And then Annette Bening, of course, she's been around the block for a long time, so she does great wherever she goes. And my rating for this movie, just saw it a second time, I give it an 8 out of 10. That's my rating, 8 out of 10. It's a very good movie. If you guys want to see it, then just go watch it. Don't allow yourself to let what's going on outside to kind of affect how you want to see this movie. I mean, I didn't. With movies, I just watch them. If I want to see a movie, I watch it. I don't care of the outside politics. That's never been me. Was this a feminist movie? Yeah, it was very much a feminist movie. I mean, if you're looking for a superhero movie or a female superhero movie that you want your daughter to watch and see a strong, female role model, Wonder Woman, I think, did it better. That's pretty much it. I mean, granted, I think people knew more about Wonder Woman than they ever knew about Captain Marvel, because when you look at the press for this, they were trying to push it as their own, Wonder Woman. It didn't work because not everybody knows who Captain Marvel is. It's like NXT and the WWE main product. WWE is Wonder Woman, and NXT is Captain Marvel. When you bring an NXT person up to the main roster, the company assumes that everybody's going to know who this is. Not everyone watches NXT. Just like not everybody reads Captain Marvel comic books. Not everybody reads comic books in general. We all know, the basic Avengers because, we watched cartoons, we heard the names, we see the shirts. Up until, Captain Marvel came out, I don't think I've ever seen anyone wear a Captain Marvel shirt. I mean, I knew about the comics, but that's just about it. What else can I talk about? I think that's it. That's pretty much it. That's my Captain Marvel review. Anyone who's listening, if you're listening, please feel free to ask me any questions. I have my Discord open if you want to get a hold of me, if you want to talk a little bit about the movie. I appreciate that, Norm. Thanks, man. Keep the show going, bro. Keep bringing more viewers into my show. You're my new PR person, Norm. What else can I talk about that's non-Captain Marvel related? When over the weekend, was it last weekend? Was it this weekend? Yeah, it was actually this week that Disney actually released some Endgame footage, and someone put out a description of said footage. And I guess I'll end the show just talking about the footage. Any day now. Okay. And really, you're just going to take me to, the magic of the internet. Okay. And this is on comicbook.com. The Walt Disney Company held its annual shareholder meeting. I don't know why I get words wrong. Shareholder meeting earlier today, and with it came an extended look at Avengers Endgame. There's an exact description shown from someone in attendance at the meeting. And, come on. I don't care about these ads. Come on. Okay. Corridor. Okay, that kind of scared the shit out of me. I'm sorry. That kind of scared the shit out of me. It was just the Super Bowl trailer for Endgame, but I was not expecting that ad to show up. Anyways, according to our source, the footage starts out with the Avengers sitting in the room. At the Avengers compound, we saw in the first teaser, and Captain Marvel is in attendance. Nebula mentions that she thinks Thanos would go to the garden after he complimented his plan. And on the garden, there's quotations around it. Captain Marvel speaks up and tells the group that they need to go there and use the stones to undo everything. The footage then showed Rocket, Thor, Nebula, Captain America, War Machine, and Black Widow in space. Rocket says something along the lines of, "Who has never been in space before, raise your hand." The footage then closes with Rocket warning those who haven't been in space to not puke in his ship. Fair. Hearing about the footage makes one think that this very well could be a second trailer, as it certainly doesn't reveal too much, and it still leaves an incredible amount of story to the imagination. One thing to note is the absence of two of the smartest heroes in the MCU, Iron Man and Ant-Man, Scott Lang. It's particular that Nebula appears to be with the Avengers when we know she's trapped with Stark in space. We've also seen Ant-Man in the Avengers compound via the Super Bowl television spot. So could it be he and Iron Man are off doing science bro things with Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk? And there was also another part of the trailer where War Machine straight up asks Captain Marvel, "Where have you been this whole time?" And Captain Marvel tells her, "I've been fighting, battles on other planets, protecting, other planets because they don't have the Avengers like Earth does." So that's where she's been this whole time. I mean, makes sense. Supposedly this movie has to do with time travel, and they showed, I guess, what's it called? The Quantum Realm suits, which are supposed to be the new Endgame toys on Avengers characters. So in the way this trailer sounds, they're going out of their way not to reveal too much. All they're pretty much going to show you in this last trailer, or in any promotion for the movie, is them still at the Avengers compound, and Stark and Nebula in space having sex or whatever. No, I wish that would happen. No, I don't. He's like, I assume Pepper went with the snap, so I have to still populate the population with Stark robot babies. Seems like something Stark would do, right? So yeah, they're going out of the way not to show or reveal almost anything. They want, even when they think that you're thinking, they want to make sure they take that away too. Because again, they want you to go into this movie with an open mind and go, this looks predictable. And then when like that 30-minute mark hits, that's when you get a punch in the face. Like, wow, I didn't know that was going to happen. What? This person's in the movie? What? I haven't seen... Why am I talking like Stone Cold Steve Austin? What? So I went to the quantum realm. What? And I can't do a Stone Cold impression anymore, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. But someone needs to make a video of that. Just have Stone Cold... of having Stone Cold saying what he's just saying random things about Endgame, and then it has him saying what. Like, someone please make that. If someone is listening, please make that. Yeah, Endgame. It's August 26th. We're going August 25th, the day before. IMAX, baby. That's the only way you can go. I believe we saw Infinity War in IMAX. It's going to be fucking huge. That's really all I got to say about it. I've been talking ad nauseum for a whole fucking year about Endgame. And before I even knew it was going to be called Endgame, it's going to be fucking huge. I can't wait for it. It's the biggest movie of the year. There's no doubt about that. There's people I know that weren't even comic book fans or superhero movie fans that saw Infinity War and liked it. And they're looking forward to seeing Endgame. It's because it's huge. I mean, because the snap, or the decimation, I call it the snap. You know, it's ingrained in pop culture. Thanos was on the cover of GQ, I believe. And then the snap was on the cover of Empire magazine. So, this is going to be a huge movie. I'm just... What, like, we got 47 days? We got 47 days until Endgame comes out. The tickets supposedly come out April 2nd, which I think is a good plan. It might be a good or bad plan, but I think it's a good plan because they know those tickets are going to sell out like instantaneously, which is why my fat ass is waking up like early enough so I can be there to buy it the second they come out. I don't care what price they are, I will fucking buy them. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this show. That's my Captain Marvel review. I will edit this show, chop it up. If you guys hear any weird like some sound, that's my AC because it's fucking hot in here. And for those that keep hearing a beep that's coming from my fire alarm, you guys must be the only ones that can hear it. I must be deaf or whatever because I can't fucking hear it at all. But as far as we know, we put in some new batteries, so they should be good. Thank you to those who listened. Thank you to Norab, who's in the chat room. And as usual, I'll be recording again this Tuesday. And tomorrow's Fastlane, which the most unnecessary pay-per-view of the year. I'll be watching that. I'm getting off early enough to watch it. And that's really about it, guys. Thank you. Take care. And peace out.